Do you really think minigolf is just a fun holiday activity? No.
I'm Sarah Schumacher, multiple world, European and German champion in minigolf.
I literally owe so much to the sport, like having amazing travel opportunities, getting doors opened I never would have imagined, like for international scholarships, and to develop a winner mentality that will literally get me through everything. It all started as a family thing. And my grandpa started or founded the MGC Tuttlingen Minigolf Club in Tuttlingen, where my family is from. And it was quite interesting to talk to him about it. He's not longer alive, but when he was alive, I actually asked him on how all of that happened, that they founded a club and how they got actual members for the club. And it was really interesting because he was telling me they had a clubhouse and they would have amazing parties there, which would bring a lot of attraction to many people. But in order to be able to party there, they would have to register and join the minigolf club and come to the regular practices as well. And well, also later on they played competitions. So that was actually a really cool and fun thing for me to hear. And well, from all of that, like this more casual, more fun minigolf club, my dad actually started to be really good. So he actually got into the national team. He became German champion. He became a European champion with the German national team. And because he already had all of that success in minigolf, for me it was quite normal because I had been growing up that way to play minigolf. And so when I was, I think like 6-7 years old, I got my first club and I just started playing. And I remember I was so bad. Oh my gosh. It was so frustrating. I could not play a single competition without crying because, you know, I assume most of you have played minigolf before. And it takes quite a lot of concentration and focus to get this ball into the hole with the least strokes possible. So when you have more than 6 strokes that you would need to get into the hole, you are actually not allowed to continue playing, but you will get an extra stroke added to that lane, so you get a 7, which is the worst. And I guess when I was young I had quite a lot of 7s on my protocols, and well, I just kept on going though anyway. I remember there was other youth players that were in the region where I was playing, and later on like also competing. I actually started competing very soon because my dad would just take me to competitions, and this was also one thing I learned from him, that you know, you've got to practice the real deal. You've got to practice the competition. I remember one thing he always told me, and it is, one bad competition teaches you much more than 100 hours of practice. And I still take this to my heart because, you know, I'm world champion, I'm European champion, I'm German champion in minigolf. I have won a lot of medals and it feels good to win. I really have to say, it's amazing. But the real learning experience always came from something I didn't do well, something I failed at. And I guess because in the beginning I was losing so many competitions, I had a pretty intense learning curve, I would say. However, there was also this other part to it, you know, because as a minigolf athlete, you're not always taken so serious. So I remember that actually a lot of people if I would tell them, hey, I play mini golf as a hobby, they would start laughing at me, and it really got me like feeling uncomfortable and feeling like I'm a weird person. So I had a lot of other hobbies, like, yeah, dancing, gymnastics, all different kinds of. I even did Olympic wrestling, and I usually would just not mention mini golf most of the times. And even when I did became world champion with the youth national team 2014, I was not really sharing this fact so openly and often with people, because I was like, they're gonna think I'm weird, and they would say things like, well, everyone can become a world champion in mini golf. And I believed these kind of things, because that was actually literally things people told me, like anyone could become a world champion in mini golf. And let me tell you, no, there's a lot of players that play mini golf and they're not world champion, because as in everything, if you want to become really good at something, you've got to put in the effort, you've got to prepare, you've got to say no to other things, and you've got to sacrifice. That's the real reason actually someone becomes successful. And I know often people don't want to hear that about sacrifices, but yes, if you want to become good at something, you have to sacrifice. When I was like a teenage girl, there were a lot of friends of mine that actually started to celebrate their birthdays big, like especially like around like the 16th birthdays. And many times I had to say, no, sorry, I can't come to your party because I play mini golf. And that was honestly sometimes a really weird excuse, because I think some people might not even really understand, okay, why is mini golf so important? But yeah, I was then already competing on international level and international competitions. And honestly, now looking back, all of these sacrifices that I had made back then, they were so worth it in the end, because mini golf opened doors for me I would have never had imagined. For example, I got to travel around the world through mini golf. There was one really cool event. It was the World Championships 2029 in Zhejiang in Shanghai. And it was actually the first year that I would transition from the youth class into adult class. And I really wanted to qualify. So the qualification, you have to think about, it's kind of like scouting. So you play the Bundesliga. So it's kind of like the German Champions League. And then you have the German Championships. And the national coach is going to scout the people that are in the national team. And well, people that might not yet be in the national team, but have the potential. And then from that kind of pool of people in the national team, the head coach is picking 4 ladies and 7 gentlemen that are going to form the team for the World Championships. And because the transition from youth to adult is quite a step, for me it was extra hard, because it was a new area, new competition, really good competition, and I did not make it into the team. However, as I was really active in the federational work back then, I was invited from the German Minigolf Sport Federation to participate in the World Minigolf Sport Federation's Delegate Conference, which happened during that World Championships in China. And so I got to travel to China anyway, even though I was not competing, which really was hard on me to go there, see all the athletes, and not being able to play myself. However, I made a connection to United Through Sports, an international youth sport organization which focuses on equal opportunities and inclusion. And through this connection, I actually got to meet a lot of very interesting athletes from all different kind of sports, with all different kind of abilities, from all different kind of countries around the world, which I got to meet at their Youth World Festival in Bangkok in 2022, where I was then invited to represent the minigolf sport. And you know, all of these stories and this kind of perspectives, also from hearing from athletes that have different abilities, you know, that have been growing up without one leg or without one arm, and they still perform on like Paralympic level. That was so inspiring to me. And learning from them and being with them, it was one of the coolest experiences I had in my life. Additionally, all of the success that I had with minigolf from playing competitions actually got me a lot of advantages when I applied for either university programs or scholarship programs, because, you know, I always would start out my application, "Hi, I'm Sarah, I'm world champion in minigolf." And as I said before, right, when I was younger, I didn't have the confidence to actually tell this to people, which now when I think back was so stupid that I would let the talks and, you know, insecurities of other people define me and, well, kind of, you know, put myself down. But I'm really proud of myself that I made it to a level of confidence that I have right now and that I have today, where I'm able to share my success with the world, and where I hopefully can inspire other people to follow the minigolf sport, because there's so much opportunity in this. So if you are watching this video right now and you think like, wow, I'm also kind of curious on what there is more behind minigolf, because on the one hand you have, of course, the technical minigolf aspects that you can learn. You know what I said in the beginning, that it's kind of frustrating if you don't get the ball into the hole with very little amount of strokes. There is certain techniques and strategies that you can apply to actually play like between a 1 or 2 on a lane. So just last German championships a couple of weeks ago, I played one round on the miniature golf course with 18. So it means you have like 1 stroke per lane, which is pretty amazing. But on the other side, you have the mental growth aspect that you get through minigolf and through competing, because minigolf is a real mental endurance sport. The competitions, they go pretty long. If you want to check out my other video there, I kind of explain more in detail on how long a German championship is taking place and what the structure of it is. And, you know, at this particular German championships, where I also played 18, which was a real cool highlight, there was a lot of frustrating parts as well, because I could not perform up to my potential that I know I can. And it was honestly really difficult to handle my thoughts and feelings during the competition. But I mean, throughout all of the years that I have been competing, I kind of developed like a toolbox of strategies on how I can recalibrate my mindset, on how I can deal with failure. Because, you know, when you play minigolf, you play one lane after another and you play multiple rounds. So it's not always about making the perfect shot, because sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you miss a shot, and sometimes you make a good shot and it doesn't go in. So that's also frustrating. The the real key is to actually recalibrate and reset your focus to really hit the next shot right. So it's constantly this kind of balance of focusing on what you're supposed to deliver. And this, to sum it up again from the beginning, you know, this German championships that I played some weeks ago, they have been a great learning opportunity again for me. And you know what I did after I felt like I kind of failed at that championships? I started to write down 100 things on why this failure was good, to shift my mindset from the negativity to what I can learn from it to make it better next time. And the next time is going to be at the World Championships in Neheim-Houston, where I'm going to compete with the German national team, and I'm super hyped for that. There is actually more content on my Instagram and TikTok. You can follow my journey along. I'll upload the next video next Monday. And as I'm just starting out with that, I would really appreciate your feedback. Let me know in the comments if there's anything more that you would like to know about mini golf, and give me a subscribe if you like to follow my journey along. This would really mean a lot to me, and I would be happy to have you on my journey to go together.